Welcome to the Python course. This is the project 3 of the Python course which I'm teaching to the beginners. We have created two small projects now, and this is the third one which I also found quite interesting. That was recording your voice using Python. So for this we are going to use two libraries. First is PyAudio and the second one is Wave. We're going to use import PyAudio, and this is something you're not going to find pre-installed, so you have to install it using pip install PyAudio. And the second library, that is import wave. So I'll explain what these two libraries do. So before that, I'll explain what these two libraries do, but before that you need to install this using pip install PyAudio and wave and hit enter. As for me, it says already requirement already satisfied, as I used them and installed them earlier for teaching. So just install them using pip install PyAudio and wave. So what PyAudio library does? PyAudio library is used for recording, playback, real-time audio process. And the wave is used for reading and writing wave files, and it is also used for manipulating data and retrieve audio metadata such as frame rate and number of channels. Alright, so we have imported these two libraries that we are going to use for recording the voice. The next thing we are going to do is create an instance PyAudio to handle audio input and output. So in order to do that, we'll use audio equal to PyAudio dot PyAudio, an instance for audio input output handle. Alright, so the next thing we are going to do, we are going to open an audio stream for recording using PyAudio. So we are going to do what? We are going to open audio stream for recording using PyAudio. So for this, I'm going to start with stream equal to audio.open, and inside we're going to take lots of parameters such as format, which I'll explain what this does, equal to PyAudio.pa int 16 bits. And the next thing we're going to include is channels, that we will be using one channel, and I'll explain what this does. Similarly, we will set the rate to 44,100 Hz, and we are going to set input to true. And the next thing is frames underscore per buffer underscore buffer equal to 1024. So now what each of these parameters do. So for what the format does is that set to PyAudio 16 for 16-bit integer format. This determines how much audio sample is encoded. 16-bit provides a good balance between audio quality and file size. So what format does, it determines how much audio sample is encoded. So we have 16-bit, which is a good balance between audio quality size. The 16-bit is a good balance between audio quality and size. Right, the next thing is the channels. We're using one channel. This means that we are recording from one audio source. So let me just comment this. Channel 1 means we are recording from one source. Alright, the next thing is rate. Why we have set the rate to 44,000. This is a standard audio sampling rate that captures frequencies to 22,000. That covers the full human range. So rate equal to 44,100 is a standard rate that captures frequencies up to 22,050 Hz, which covers full range of human hearing. Alright, the next thing is the input. Why is it set to true? The input is set to true to enable input recording. This tells Python we want to capture audio, not play. So input is equal to true tells Python we want to record audio, not play it. So this is just like a button. We turn it on and the fan starts to move. Exactly the same. We turn on and it tells Python that we are recording. The next thing and the last thing is frames per buffer. The frames per buffer is 1024. This determines how many audio samples are processed at a time, and 1024 is a common value that's balanced between latencycy between and processing time. So what is frames buffer? Frames per buffer is equal to 1024 because it's a balance between latency and processing efficiency. And what it does is that how many audio samples are being processed. So format audio by 16. This is a balance between good audio quality and size. This tells us that we're recording from one source. This covers the human hearing range, and this tells that we are recording, not playing the audio. And the frame buffer tells us that it's a good balance between processing and latency. Alright, so the next thing is we're going to create an empty list to store the recorded audio. So we are going to use frames equal to an empty list. What this does is that it an empty list that stores recorded audio data. Alright, now let's move on to the next thing, that is print. We're going to print the instruction to stop the program. Print that \n recording now. Alright, it's recording now. And the next thing we're going to add is that \n, and again \n. Press Control plus C to stop recording. That is \n. Is it a backward slash or a forward slash thing? It's a forward slash. Well, whatever. And the next thing, what this does, it prints message for the user. It prints the message that we are now recording, and press Control C to stop the recording. Alright, here starts the remaining main part of the program. And now we start the recording process. Start recording the process, that is try. Here I am using try except. Alright, so I have taught you in the class 13 about the exception handling. This is exactly that we use try and except to handle exceptions and errors, and we can still make our program run even if our code has errors. So we're going to use a try, and then inside we are going to start a loop, that is while true you are going to get the data, that is stream.read, and inside we have 1024. The next thing what you are going to do, that you are going to remove this data from here and store it inside the frames list that was empty earlier. Append data. So this should be used as a method here. This loop will help record continuously. So loop for recording continuous. This reads 1024 samples from audio stream. Alright, and what this does, this adds recorded data to empty frames list. And the next we are going to make use of the except block. What that will do, that will be used when the person presses the Control plus C to stop the recording. So we will type except keyboard interrupt and pause. So what this will do, let me comment on this as well. This will run if user presses Control plus C. So this is an exception that has occurred, because normally this thing is occurring, but suddenly someone presses Control plus C and this will be executed. And after that, what we are going to do, we will be close the stuff, because we have now recorded and we are now closing up. So now what we will do, we will use stream dot stop underscore stream, and here stream dot close. So what this is doing, this is obviously stopping and closing the audio stream. So it's like cleaning up. All right. So the next thing we are going to do is terminate the PyAudio instance. So we created the PyAudio instance here, right? Now we are going to terminate it. This is how we are going to terminate it, using audio.terminate, and here I'm going to comment that terminating PyAudio instance. But now here is the cool part. We will now save the data that we have recorded. How? We're using the wave library. So this is where the wave library comes into play. The sound underscore file is equal to wave.open my recording.wave, right? This is how it is going to be named as. And then we are going to use WP. So here the W is used for writing and B is for using the binary. Why? Because the wave data requires it, because it may contain a binary audio data. This is necessary for wave files which contain binary audio data, and W is used for writing. All right, and what this line of code is actually doing, this is opening a new wave file for writing the recorded audio. Now we are going to set the parameters for what our final file will have. So we are going to set the parameters for our wave file. So this is how we're going to do. Sound underscore file dot set and channels 1. Here we set the channel to one channel. The next thing we are going to do, we are going to use sound file dot set sample width equal to audio dot get underscore sample size into Pyaudio dot PA in 16-bit. And here what it did, it set the sample to 16-bit. Now sound file dot set frame rate into 44,100. This will set frame to 44,100 hertz. Now what we are going to do, we are going to write the recorded data to wave file. How? We're going to use sound underscore file dot write frames b and join frames. So what is happening here is that we are using bytes and then we are joining the frames. So we are getting bytes and then we joining the frames. Frames is the list that has our audio data. And then finally we're going to close the wave file. And the next thing is sound underscore file dot close. And at the end, we are going to print a message that indicate the recording has been saved. Print the message for recording saved. So we're going to print the recording is saved in the same folder as the script is. And thank you for using this recorder. All right. So now we have the whole code here. First of all, we use two libraries, then we created an instance, then we started the stream with these parameters, then we created an empty list, then we use the try except block. Try has a loop that runs continuously, and then the except is used for the exception that if someone stops recording pressing Ctrl C. Then we just stop the recording process by stopping the stream and closing it. Then we terminate the audio instance, and then we make use of the wave library for writing our recording into wave. Then we set the parameters, we set the channels 1, we set the sample width using Pyaudio to 16 bits as I mentioned earlier. That's a balanced value, and same for the frequency, we set it to 44,000 for the human range. And then we joined the frames by utilizing B for bytes and join for joining the frames. And then we close the wave file. And at the end, we have printing message that recording has been saved. Now if I run my program, it says it's recording. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and you can learn from me about the Python programming. Now let's hear the recording by pressing Control and Control C. Alright, so we got an error. What does the error say? The error says terminate. So we made, yes, here should be terminate. Should be samp instead of sample. Oh my god, we decided to wavy instead of wave. Let's run this again. Alright people, like the video, subscribe to this channel, and make as many mistakes as you can so you can learn new things. And yeah, let's just hear how it goes. And here if we hear this one. Alright people, like the video, subscribe to this channel, and make as many mistakes as you can so you can learn new things. And yeah, let's just hear how it goes. Alright people, that was our project 3 on voice recording. I'll see you in the next class.